Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your February 2024 forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This forecast can be used for Sun, Rising Moon, or Venus, and it's basically going to help you map out the next 6 to 8 weeks. So welcome, everybody. I like to begin each and every reading with channeled messages. They come from dreams primarily. So let's get into this mediumship portion now. In dreams last night, here's what I was picking up on. First and foremost, it was all water. It makes sense since I'm reading for a water sign, but there was water everywhere. The first thing that I noticed in dreams was someone rising up from, like, it looked like they were swimming, but coming out of the water and taking a really deep breath. To me, this can be figurative and symbolic of basically taking time to be present, getting your head above water and feeling maybe like for the first time in a while that you're caught up. And this is basically auspicious. It means that things are taking a turn for the better. I featured a really nice card here from the Light Seers Tarot, one of my favorite decks. We can see the Queen half submerged and half above water. And when you're dealing with things like creativity, emotions, it's really important to kind of have like 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. The Temperance Angel is another great example. But this illustration is probably my favorite Queen of Cups because she's channeling, controlling, and moving with the flow of energy. And that's the other thing, knowing when and if to sort of, push back or when to go with the flow. The next thing that I saw in dreams was water moving around, beneath, and over surfaces. Basically, where there's a will, there's a way, and also energy has a way of going exactly where it needs to. One of the things here is you can't really fight nature. So if you've ever noticed certain features like a dam or levees and things like that, there comes a point where they don't work because nature's just going to find a way to get through. So this is basically the law of detachment being illustrated by rivers and tributaries. The universe has a way of making something happen if it's meant to be. So I think one of the challenges and one of the opportunities for you, Scorpio, is simply to show up and do everything that you can, to let the universe know that you're ready, and then let go. And I recently had an experience with just this, the law of detachment, where I was working with a producer on a project, and I said, you know what, this isn't happening right now, or I'm not seeing the movement here. Why don't we change focus a little bit? We can always revisit that later, because I feel like we've exhausted our options. And we started talking about new things, getting excited, and then 1 hour later, the thing that I was saying, I'm not seeing movement on it, all of a sudden we saw movement, and now that's happening. But part of it was I felt like I didn't want to force it at a certain point. I've learned through history that there comes a point where you've done everything you can. And the moment that I let go, everything started to take shape and take form. So just like the rivers and the streams and all the sort of tributaries, reach out, do what you can, and then just let things flow in the direction that they need to go. Okay? Things are starting to move in the right direction. One last thing, because I was looking at bridges, I titled this Water Under the Bridge, and I featured a card of letting go or moving on, the Six of Swords. For some of you, there's this emotional release that's starting to happen right now, where we're not just talking about the law of detachment, but it's actually just some internal healing that's starting to happen. So allow yourself to move on to the next thing. It's okay to let go, and maybe you needed to hear that. Let's take a look at the cards now and see what additional messages are coming through for February 2024. What a powerful reading so far. We definitely see some major movements coming through. Let me finish pulling the cards here, but I just wanted to acknowledge that we see some changes for the better, which is great. Another synchronicity, we have a lot of solar energy coming through, solar plexus energy because of health. We'll get more into that in a second. Wow, this is so amazing. As I'm looking at this expanded forecast, we have healing, karmic reset. We also have the scarab beetle, which is death and rebirth. We have the sun. Really big month for you, Scorpio. Let's talk about it. We're going to begin with the catalyst energy first. So you have two cards here. The sun card is the one that really flipped out of the deck. And then we have the Jupiter energy, which is the one that I selected. Let's talk about the solar energy since this really wanted to be seen and heard. So this is almost like the little baby in tarot raising its hand saying, feed me or pay attention to me or nurture me. And when it comes to you, this is your inner child, folks. So there could be something from the past where you made a promise to yourself or you always hoped to accomplish something as a kid. And that inner child is coming back and saying, don't forget about me. Let's do this. This is also a chance to reclaim power because this is your solar plexus. And it came through here as well. Both of these cards were kind of angled. I don't necessarily, especially when they're octagonal or circular, I don't worry so much about if it's upright or reversed. But this can also be about reaching in and reclaiming power and saying, I've always had it within me. I just need to allow it to surface. So some beautiful messages here. And this card just volunteered. So I always pay attention to volunteers. Jupiter is all about expansion. It's one of my favorite planets to deal with. And when I have a dream and I see Jupiter energy, then what's basically coming through is a chance to go bigger, brighter, and beyond. Think about the last two cards in the major arcana, Judgment and the World. And you did get Judgment, I believe, here. Yes, you did. It's in the environment. So this Jupiter expanding energy is kind of connecting to that a bit. I love all the water that we see in this spread, and we'll talk about that in a second. But for Jupiter, it's also about how you're positioning your thoughts. So if you limit yourself with your thoughts, then doors close. If you stay open-minded and open to the possibilities, then doors open. And then releasing energy and saying, I've done it all, I'm ready. If it's meant to be, it will be. That will also help you expand and create what it is that you want. Rather than saying, I need it, I want it, it must happen. That has a way of kind of clamping down on things, and we want to keep things free-flowing. Think of all the water that I kept seeing. You can only direct water to a point, and then it's going to go where it wants to go. All right, let's focus on the centermost card first of all. Before anything can happen this month, you're allowing yourself to move on. So I talked about the Six of Swords. Well, the Ten of Swords is also a card where you're basically done with something. It is a full stop, a period at the end of the sentence. We actually see a nice focus here on the new day that is dawning. And what really has to happen here is releasing pain as a teacher and saying, thanks for that lesson. I don't need it anymore. It could be a person, it could be a job, it could be anything in your life. Many of you are just finally ready to move to the next thing. And sometimes it takes that final straw to get there. But the good news is things are looking up and the healing can begin now if you're ready to allow it to. Don't beat yourself up. This card sometimes represents a tendency to try to be perfect. So perfectionist tendencies or fear of rejection, those things can hold you in place. And we want to let those emotions go. This is also a card that encourages forgiveness of yourself and others because holding on to a grudge is just basically, it's not going to allow you to move forward, nor will it allow the other person. It's just kind of this, both of you remain in pain when that happens. So this is about forgiveness, healing, and release, which is nicely connected to everything that I talked about at the beginning of the reading. Crossing that Ten of Swords is the Justice card, doing the right thing, speaking up, speaking out. And we can see also that this is like a little bit of a tightrope. Some of you may be worried about stepping on someone's toes or hurting their feelings, but when it's the right thing, you just have to do it sometimes. I love this illustration because Justice has two different scales as earrings. So she may have two people trying to convince her. I mean, a justice, in a court of law, this happens a lot. You have two sides to every story. You're really trying to weigh out perhaps like feedback, points of view, two compelling directions. At the end of the day, you're the one that's going to decide, and you alone. You're playing the role of justice, creating balance, weighing the options and saying, this is my decision. So Scorpio, are you ready to decide? And are you ready to speak with this energy of authority here? Because we have the solar energy coming through multiple times. If you can do that, then I think other people are ready and willing to listen. But if you have a doubt or you say your decision with a question, then you're inviting people to come in and throw the scales out of balance. So decide, speak with as much certainty as possible, and move on to the next thing. And remember, it's okay to create boundaries, to say no, to put that line in the sand. All of these things are going to give you the balance that you need. Notice also how justice always has a sword. And here, as we look in the deep past, we have the Queen of Swords. So you might have to take action a couple of times. You might have to say it and then say it louder. And that's what we're picking up on here. Queen of Swords, she does not mince her words. And she's not worried about the perfectionist energy here. There's a lot of different ways to say things, and you can use a really big word, you can use a bunch of words, or you can say a few and get the point across. She's going to err on the side of being to the point, concise, and saving her time, her energy, and her breath. So there's an encouragement this month to do just that. Speak up, say what you need to say, repeat it if you need to repeat it, and then move on to something else. This is also really, really great in general when it comes to leadership, and it is being clear in your sort of marching orders. So if there's something that someone is needing from you when it comes to direction and instructions, don't be ambiguous. When you're manifesting, if you can be clear and specific and then practice that release that we talked about, it's going to be so much better than if it's vague. So be concise, be specific, and then move on to the next thing. It is a time to really focus on activating that throat chakra. So if you're not comfortable speaking in front of other people, or if you worry a lot about just how you're articulating things, these cards are telling you you'll find the cadence, you'll find the balance, get out of your headspace a little bit. But if you wanted to do some public speaking work to practice, that would be great. What's coming through in the recent past? Well, we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse is reminding you that it's okay to stop for a moment, and if something's missing or if something's lacking, to ask for it, to address it, to deal with it. It saves time down the road. All of the Knights, the way that I read them anyway, when reverse, can represent redirecting, kind of focusing on something and making a small tweak so that later you can turn the card upright and head forward. It's like fixing a tire that's low in pressure before it blows out. This is exactly what a Knight of Pentacles would do. It's saying, let's be preventative, let's be proactive, let's deal with it now before it blows up into something bigger. And that's the main message here. There's other things that you can focus on with this card in reverse, and that is personal development. You may be deciding to focus a little less on what others need and a little bit more on what you need, whether it's, again, education or getting the support in your life that you need. Maybe this is even like getting proper mental health support, focusing more on diet and exercise, whatever it is that you need to firm up your own foundation. That will help you make up for lost time later. Okay? And if you need something, fight for it. Knights are willing to do that. But make a case that is based not just on emotions, but on tangible facts, because this is a very practical argument when we see this card. All right, in the crowning position, we have the Knight of Wands. It's reversed. Someone else might want to pick your brain a little bit and figure out, how you got where you're at. Don't let them slow you down. This is interesting. I would normally not read it this way, but this is what's coming through from Spirit. You've got a lot to do. And it's okay for you to change your mind, to change direction. But if someone else is slowing you down and, these are questions that they could have answered on their own, or they have a tendency to overreach and ask for too much from you, this is a chance for you to use the justice energy and say, this is all that I can do today. And you've got this. You can also kind of like push them back into their own power and say, I believe in you. Give it a shot and then come back to me after you've done that. Keep an open mind whenever this card is reversed. Sometimes there's a tendency to be very closed-minded and kind of put the blinders on. So stay open-minded and focus on what you need to focus on. Don't let other people take you off your concentration, okay? Or out of your concentration. We have the Page of Cups in the near future. There could be love, there could be friendship. You could simply have this outpouring of creativity coming through. And this is about giving yourself time and space to do that. So the two Knights that we previously saw in reverse could also be about slowing down how much you're working and really kind of getting out of your headspace so much and just having some fun, creating space for fun, and then not overthinking it when you get creative impulses and downloads, and just saying, let's go for it. Let's see where this leads. There could be a Pisces coming into your life as well. You might just be more inclined in this moment in time to focus on love. This page is very receptive and very sensitive and very open. It's in the upright position. It's favorable. So give yourself time to have fun this month, Scorpio. Be yourself, okay? And see where that goes. Also express yourself. Pages do not keep things bottled up inside. It doesn't have to be some declaration. You can show someone through a gift, or you can give someone a hug, or you can do whatever you want to basically let the energy flow through, okay? Really great energy, and it's showing, like I said, love, creativity, and movement overall when we're looking at this month ahead. Let's look at how you're showing up. We have the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is in the upright position. This card is second only to the Emperor in its ability to lead. What it has over the Emperor as an advantage is innovation, because wands are about ideas, brainstorming, and passion. And what this card also has over the Emperor is the ability to inspire. The Emperor can boss people around, sometimes even intimidate them, but the King of Wands can get them excited, can sort of light a fire in their hearts. So that's what you can do this month with your passion, using this energy. So as long as you are speaking from the heart, as long as you are authentically expressing yourself, basically the sky is the limit, and people are more inclined to listen, agree with, and support you. So overall, I really like the energy on this card. You're showing up in a very positive light. Let's see how that's affecting all of the other areas. As we take a look here in the environment, we have Judgment. It's interesting because we also had Justice for you this month. This is the decision that you're trying to make, and this is the delivery of that decision. So for those of you that happen to be in that leadership role, which we saw here, people want to know which way to go. This is you making the announcement. This is them following through. The traditional illustration shows the other nuances in this card, which is basically a new beginning, a fresh start after something comes to a close. What's really interesting here is as we take a look at hopes, fears, and opportunity, we have a butterfly, and this is the Death card, a very unusual interpretation of it, but I love it because this is a perfect visualization for what death represents. The end of one thing, the beginning of something new. It is not a full stop moment. And we have two of these sort of similar messages back to back. This is the end, the coffin. This is a new beginning, souls rising up. This is the end of one phase, the caterpillar, and the beginning of something new, the butterfly. So one of the challenges this month is accepting, recognizing, and embracing change. Not just one change, but maybe a couple of changes, especially since we had Judgment and Death. They are, the Judgment card is one of my favorite ones because, again, it is angelic, and it's that epiphany where you're like, let's do this. You can literally kind of put that as a caption on this. You've got nothing to lose, you're ready, and it's that moment when you just feel free. And having that sort of internal acceptance and release is so powerful. I hope you can achieve that this month if you're kind of sitting on the precipice of should I or should I not do something. In the traditional Death card, we actually have an indiscriminate energy. So we have a king, a child, a mother, a clergyman. And basically it's saying at any given stage of your life, at any given sort of economic state and age and all of that, change can and will happen. It's the only constant in this life is things are going to change. You get used to something, it changes. So this month, if you can ease into the changing energy, you can spread your wings and fly, okay? So a new start, a fresh, clean slate. That's what this month is really about for many of you, if you're willing and ready to accept it. We also have partnership energy, folks. So you're showing up as the King of Wands, and what you're manifesting in the outcome is Queen of Wands energy. So this can be bringing your idea to the next level. This could also be love and partnership and friendship. So we have a Queen of Wands in reverse. She is basically one of the most powerful court cards in all of tarot. And what I love about her is her ability to create something from nothing. She can, take straw and spin it into gold. She's holding the sunflower here. Typically, this card is in the desert. but nonetheless, there is power, there is growth, there is abundance around her. So if you are on the heels of this big change, or maybe you even find yourself with a lack, not enough resources, not enough support, she has a way, just like I was talking about with the king energy, of rallying support and leading the way. That sunflower, by the way, folks, we got two suns. You have two strong, fiery energies here. That's what we're seeing here. You're going to reach out and say, let's do this. You could reach out across the aisle and say, can I get your help? With someone who normally wouldn't partner up with you. You are the boss. You've got boss energy, and this is your chance to turn a new corner, make a fresh start, and really make an impact. So yes, let's just review before we even get into the expanded forecast. What are we seeing here? A moment of recovery. For some of you, recovery and loss together. A decision to go in a different path, maybe to walk away from one person and walk towards someone else. So we can see some relationships closing here, but we see new ones starting to come in. We could see a lack, but then right on top of that, the ability to make a lot out of that. So movement, it's movement from one to another, and everything on this side is power. Have you noticed that, folks? This is leadership and innovation. This is second chances, new starts, rising to the occasion. This is showing some sort of a capacity you never had before, growing into something brand new, fresh. And then this is really commanding the attention of others and being able to, just like this cat, land on your feet. It's a ninth life. You haven't written the final page to your story just yet, okay? Let's go ahead and expand this a little bit deeper, and we're going to take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Then we'll go into some other special things like sun, rising, and moon. First things first, let's look at the health card. Mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so for health, we have one with the sun, be the light. So for some of you, this card, by the way, was reversed. For some of you, you may be in a situation where support is lacking. And that's why we got two solar cards. When it's lacking, you raise your hand and say, this is not enough, or I need help, or can I count on you? Reaching across the aisle, as we talked about. This is also the solar plexus. So strengthening the core, working on self-confidence, working on power dynamics. This makes a lot of sense when we look at what's in front of us here, because you're represented by this, but besides this court card, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Justice can also be a Libra, 6. You've got at least 6 energies that are showing up that are possibly pulling a little bit at that solar plexus. So that's why it is very, very important to have boundaries. And it's important to really know who you are. One with the sun. Get outside, by the way. That's another message here. But you've got to be one with yourself. Trust your gut, trust your power, trust your ability, and speak up. Because ultimately, you came through with that king and queen energy that we saw with the king and queen of wands. So you've got what it takes, folks. Let's now break it down, just looking at the cards at some additional, into some additional health messages. So as I've continued to say here, solar plexus energy, focusing on strengthening your stomach, your core. And if there are any things there that might be presenting, it could be like digestive issues or anything around the stomach. Definitely pay attention to that and prioritize that because the core is important. There is a necessary change that you need to make in your life. One of the changes for some of you simply could be finding the right balance between work and your social life, between your money and all the different things that are going on. So just finding that perfect balance, making the necessary changes. And then I feel like you're going to be pretty confident and able to make this stick. But it is just the initial thing where you say to yourself, I need to do this. And then you take action on it, because I mentioned that the Justice card has a sword. You got to speak up. You have to walk the walk and talk the talk. So are you ready, Scorpio, to do that? Because that's really what Spirit is showing here. Let's take it card by card and see if there's some other messages. This is you can almost take it at face value. The 10 of Swords can be chronic pain and fatigue. A lot of times it's in the back or the neck, but it can be anywhere in your body, and this is a chance for you to remedy that. The good news is, with the reversal of it, we see things starting to ease up a bit. This is not just about finding balance in the areas of your life, but there could also be some balance issues for some of you. It could be your choice of footwear. It could be inner ear issues. Could be something else, in which case you want to work with your doctor. But either figurative or literal balance, and then chronic pain and fatigue are the two center cards that are presenting the most. What we see here can be stagnation or an environment that doesn't allow you to grow. And this is a chance for you to move out of that into something that allows you to spread your wings a little bit. So cleaning and clearing of the environment, self-care, and then really allowing yourself to express your feelings, your emotions, kind of leaning into that. That's going to be where you'll be really thriving this month. As I look at these two cards, it kind of gives me a little bit of a sensory headache for a second, just a psychic one. And so for some of you, there's too much, you're either fixating on an outcome, or there is someone distracting you, like I said earlier, or there's just a lot of thoughts going on, and there needs to be ways to decompress, to change the mental channel up a little bit, give yourself a chance to, relax and refresh. All of that's going to be important, because if you think and fixate too much on something, it doesn't necessarily move the needle forward. It just makes it bigger. So let's focus on constructive thoughts and taking action on those thoughts and not overthinking. I think that's the other thing here that definitely comes through. If you decide to make a change, it could be life altering in a really, really good way. This can be a wake-up call when you have a close brush with death or with a health challenge, and you clear that challenge, but you change because of it. It's like, once is enough. I don't need to tempt fate. And that's really what we've got here with that. So overall, I like what I see. The main thing here is definitely some mental stress, possibly some physical fatigue, and just finding the right balance in your life. I think most of these things are manageable. Let's move on to wealth. We got the scarab beetle in reverse. Let's just turn it upright for a moment so we can read all of the captions here. It says, "Scarab beetle spirit, magic works through you." So we have a little bit of the magician energy here, which is saying don't stop that flow of energy, that inspiration. And this does happen when we are children sometimes. So this inner child is coming back saying, you know what? We used to be like this until parents, teachers, and society said, do this, not that. So there's a chance for you to reconnect with something that you've always naturally, innately kind of flowed with, but maybe you were taught to do a different path just because it was expected. So this is a chance to rekindle the energy of youth. Of course, scarab beetles are also very closely connected to the death card. They are symbols of the afterlife, death and rebirth. And this is a chance for you to see yourself at the nexus of ends and beginnings and allow yourself to ease into something brand new, as we've been talking about. They make lemons out of lemonade. Let's talk about their job. Scarab beetle basically is a dung beetle. They're moving all the manure, all the stuff people don't like, but with that, they also bring about fertility and growth. That's one of the cool things with this. So sometimes you have to go through the kind of lower, murkier stuff, but it provides fertile ground upon which the next chapter of your life can ascend. So if you've just been through something kind of gnarly, not so good, not so fun, a little bit, maybe for some of you even a dark night of the soul, there's always a new day that is dawning in the background. And this moment in time, you are that scarab beetle rising up, spreading your wings and saying, I'm done with this, it's time to fly, okay? So when it comes to work, we're going to look at opportunities to rise above and to make the most out of challenging situations, not just work, but money. So let's break it down a little, folks. We're going to look at this on 3 different levels. We're going to start off with those of you that are working, seeking work, or are retired or possibly students, because both of those have very similar paths. Okay, so if you are currently working, power dynamics definitely keeps coming up. It's a chance for you to speak up and a chance for you to expand. This is planting the seed that you want more. For those of you that are thinking to yourself, I deserve it, I've worked hard, maybe harder than most, and you're in this sort of knight energy, but you really want to be in the king and queen energy, you plant a seed and say, let's make this happen. This is what I want. And from that, things can happen. So if you need it, just like we saw with this Knight of Pentacles, say it's lacking, let's make this happen. And see if you can't partner up with someone to bring in that abundance. If you're happy, you still may be overworked. There may be other parts of your life that require your attention. And it's about shifting the focus and kind of like writing that line so you're not pulled too thin. Say no where necessary, ask for help where necessary, and don't be afraid to try new things. For those of you that are in a job that's ending, which we'll look at now in a moment, like looking for new work, this is a blessing in disguise. And also the writing seems like it was already on the wall, so don't beat yourself up so much. That's what I see here. Judgment is often something you have no control in when it's kind of coming to you from someone else in the environment. It's more like what you want to do with that. One thing's done, something else can begin. That's where the scarab beetle comes through. Lots of entrepreneurial energy with the King and the Queen of Wands. So you could start up your own business. Some of you that might want to go in a different path. Some of you might also need to leave something, because this can be quitting, and this can, you have 3 cards of separation in order to find something else. And we definitely see an option in the long run here. Just make sure you have that before quitting if possible, for those of you that are going in that direction. Overall, I do like that there's support. I like that there's energy of change, and it looks like you have the capacity to bounce back from any challenge. So those are things to think about. The only thing here that is a little bit iffy is that death is in hopes, fears, and opportunities. For some of you, there either needs to be action on what you are thinking, action on what you've said or someone else has said, or if you're in a place where there is stagnation, it's basically you escaping that and saying, I got to go somewhere where the growth is, okay? For those of you that are looking for work, here's what I see, or looking for employment opportunities. Here's what's going on. I feel for many of you, the choice needs to be grounded as you move forward. So some of you came from a really difficult period where you were overworked, and you're just thinking to yourself, I need to make sure that the next job is fun or more engaging. I want to make a difference, and you want to have a say. Those are the energies that I'm picking up on. Can you find something? Yes. But it may take, it feels like you might have missed something with these 2 nights. Go back and look at some of the email trails. Make sure that you're not afraid to check back at least 2 to 3 times, then let it go. And also don't worry about rejection coming through. It's easier said than done, but a lot of times it's not the right match. It's not the right balance. And this card is reminding you that it's important to find something that's the right fit for you. Where might it happen? Well, I saw a lot of travel energy, so it might be somewhere else, different location than where you've been looking or living. And some of you are really drawn to law because we have judgment and justice. So this is a time not only to scrutinize that contract, but also look at some jobs that might change policy, be dealing with the law, things of that nature. Again, entrepreneurial stuff, so making sure that you're also exploring things where you might be able to be your own boss, or you might be working in a partnership or a very small team so that you have a bigger say. If you are retired, what I see now is a chance to completely explore uncharted territory. Judgment and death are saying, let's just do what we want to do. A lot of creative energy coming through. You might be deciding to go more into a creative path like art or dance, or again, taking on something that's just fun. And that's exactly what you should be doing when you're retired, because it's not necessarily about having to make money all the time. It's just doing something where you make a difference. And that's what I pick up on here. Can travel be a part of this? Yes, but you really want to scrutinize the itinerary and any sort of fine print when we're looking at that, especially with judgment, justice, and death. Get insurance if you're going to travel, by the way. There could be a cancellation on something, and you just want to be aware of that. Students, it's time to pivot. Some of you don't like your major. Some of you don't want to do your major because the Ten of Swords is clearly a no, and the Justice card, especially if it's a sideways or upside down card, is indecisive. If it doesn't feel right, that's a clear indication. Whether you're 1, 2, or 3 semesters in, you can change, you can pivot. Do it now because you're going to be working on this for a while in your life. So that's what I'm seeing here for wealth, for those of you that are at the beginning stages, just trying to chart it all out. And I think it's really important to take different employment opportunities or internships before deciding like this is it. By the way, I think we've changed a lot from like the previous century where you would work one path primarily for your entire life. Now we get to keep trying new things. That's the fun thing. So whether you are beginning your career as a student, you're in the middle of it, or you're retired, you are constant learners, right? And so we're always going in and out of this sort of chrysalis energy of the death card. So always reinventing, always rearranging, and always able to come out and have a good time, hopefully, with that. So give yourself that ability to just really go for something that you haven't explored or tried before. You may feel for a moment or two like, can I do it? But the answer in these cards is yes, you can. Okay, let's move on from wealth to love. We have karmic board clearing. Let's look at this in the upright position and break it down. It says energetic clearing, rewrite your story, live your truth. I feel like this has been the entire story today with, the death and the rebirth cards. So you're done with the chapter. And again, Scorpio, for some of you, this wasn't an easy chapter. Some of you wondered if you could get through it, but you did. You decided. Here's the powerful thing. If you're in a really challenging situation, the best thing you can do is say, we're going to do this. I'll show you. And you can get into that energy of determination. You're going to find power you didn't think you had, and you're going to grow beyond your wildest expectations. By the way, this is really great for work. It's also really great for relationships. In work, this means you can go further than expected, like I said, the World card. In a relationship, this is really allowing you to experience a depth that you've never experienced before. And you wouldn't think of it, but these are actually very cosmically aligned cards. The Death card and the Judgment card, it's past life, 2 past lives, because you can read them at face value, and they've been reincarnated here with the Judgment card. And 2 suns, to me, are 2 past lives as well. If I get a star card and a sun card, it's twinning energy. I don't use twin flames. I just think of twin stars, but really strong passion energy. So in old, new, and even yet to be explored relationships, strong karmic partnerships are coming into play. And this time you get to clear the energy. You're going to graduate. And from this point, you can decide whatever you want to do. But there's a really deep dynamic at play. Remember what it says here. Rewrite your story, live your truth. And I mentioned that some of your inner children are coming out and saying, don't you forget, we said we were going to do this. It's like that 80s song, Don't You Forget About Me. So the kid is coming out and it wants to play and it wants to have some fun and it wants to make some important changes. Let's listen. All right, we're going to break it down into 3 categories: those in love, looking for love, or single and happy. All right, let's begin for those that are currently in a relationship. The one thing that I see right off the bat is communication could improve. This can represent being on the heels of an argument, and this represents pointing the fingers. One party really believes that they're right, maybe both do, and it's difficult to come to a common ground. And remember what I said earlier, there's 2 sides to every coin, 2 sides to every story, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. So you may need a mediator. You may also need to just pick and choose battles. If you truly are in the right and someone said something or did something that hurt you, one of the things here is you have to decide, is there room for growth? Is the person so rigid that they just are not perceiving how you feel? I mentioned sensitivity. If that's the case, it's pretty clear here that there's not much more you can do except walk away a little bit, get some time, get some energy, and decide if this is what you want. These 2 cards are evenly met, but like I said, they're the bossiest cards in tarot. So this is someone who's closed down, and this is someone who's just naturally very bossy, so it's going to be hard to find a middle ground. Compromise is key. Compromise, sensitivity, empathy. You can lead by example, and that actually is what the King of Wands would do. So be courageous, be strong, be compassionate. Try to show the way and rise to the occasion, like we saw with the scarab beetle. But if that doesn't work, it's okay. You've done what you can. Remember, law of detachment. Do all that you can. Take a step back. If it's meant to be, it will be. If not, things will flow in a different direction. Some of you are at that precipice. I can see it really clearly. And it's mostly because of a breakdown in communication or a hurtful act that is just hard to, to kind of deal with. All right, so that's one narrative. There's going to be a few since this is a general reading. The next sort of situation that I'm seeing for some of you is a really big life change. And this can be the loss of somebody because we have two cards representing death and rebirth. And this can be what it feels like to go through the loss of, for instance, a parent or a child or a sibling. And it's so wonderful if you have a partner to help you through that journey, but it also puts that relationship to the test. And so for many of you, we see the strength of the relationship, we see the heart of the relationship, but it's going to be give and take. And you can also decide just how much and where you can help your partner and where you may need to point them for additional support because you don't want to lose your scales here of balance. So some of you are just learning how to deal with the better or for worse part. And it's not always with each other. It's just with the trials and tribulations that life throws at us, right? And that's just part of being in a partnership. The good news in this scenario is I see love in the near future and I see strength in the outcome. I see it here for you too. There's just a lot of change, but remember what I said earlier, there's the capacity to grow in that change. So reach out, support each other, have each other's. I love that we have two hands here. So one about expansion, one about power. Together you're unstoppable, okay? That's the really higher version of this that I can see. And what's the glue that keeps it together? You have something deeper than just this lifetime. So for many of you, you met your partner and you had this immediate like awakening or recognition or realization. That's what I've been looking for. So let's lean into that right now, especially when things might be challenging. This is also just a time for growth. So the third narrative and the third sort of thing that I'm seeing for many of you is an end of one chapter. So some of you might be entering into retirement together, and it's a change for both of you. It's getting used to each other again. Some of you might have an empty nest after children have left, or some of you are celebrating a first child, but all of these are big changes, and bookending this are the two of you. You're both going through a different level of change. For one of you, it's liberating. For one of you, it's a little bit more of a reach. But together, like I said, you can lift each other up, you can support each other. Together, you're stronger. And that's the main message for existing relationships. There was only one small subset that may just be trying to get over, a hurtful comment or something like that. For the rest of you, this is also just saying don't take for granted your health or your partner's health. Really focus on that. That should be the primary thing. Because without that, it's a house of cards. So make sure that both parties are getting the support that they need when it comes to health and well-being. All right, resetting this. If you're looking for love, the biggest thing that I'm picking up in this category is those that are just afraid of being hurt. Some of you may have just gotten out of a bad relationship here or even a marriage. Justice card can represent finding your footing again, saying goodbye to someone, and this is still a little bit of healing that needs to be done. So the main thing here is not to focus so much on what was, but first of all, how strong you have become and all of the potential energy coming through. To all of my longtime viewers, you probably know what I'm going to say, but if there's this many options in front of you, typically there can be either a lack of focus, a lack of preparation, or a lack of specificity when it comes to what you're trying to manifest or what you're looking for in love. So there's an opportunity to kind of like tune in and ask yourself, one, if you're truly ready. Two, if you are ready, what is it that you want? And then to be a little bit more specific or discerning when you're looking at partnership opportunities. All of that out of the way, some of you still want to know, can I find love? Yes, you can. It looks like whatever you've been using as your sort of like dating research tool, whether it's an app or you've been trying to meet people through an activity, there's a little bit of a dead end in this energy. It's really about looking beyond that and trying some different things. Again, creative endeavors are really, really good. You might also be meeting someone through work. I see that whatever you have been doing, let's put that to rest. Let it go a little bit. You may surprise yourself, and then if you don't check your messages for a while, or if you just stop logging into something, all of a sudden there's a match. Law of detachment definitely could be at play with that, but otherwise it's just really about opening yourself up to meeting people in other ways. And when we're looking at this one, this reset, I think just doing what you want to do, it says live your truth, right? So when you really start to do something that feels right to you, that is helping you expand and connect to things that are exciting, when you're focusing on your own self-confidence, then you're going to pull in someone that is the right match. We have a divine partnership with these two. Could be a fire sign coming in for you. This particular energy knows who they are, they know what they want, and they're not afraid to make the first move. Suffice it to say, there's a really strong energy coming forth, so that should hopefully help you identify that if you're looking for love. All right, now let's take a look at those that are single and happy. I get why you're single and happy. Like I said before, some of you have been through a really difficult past relationship, and you're just enjoying your freedom. And in that freedom comes a chance to travel, because we have the water coming through again, a chance to reinvent and explore new things, a chance to just do whatever you want to do. It's like that old, it was actually a Prince song covered by Sinead O'Connor, but Nothing Compares to You, where she's just saying, you know, I can do whatever I want to do. But there is sort of a lament in that song. And I do get partnership energy here. So for some of you, there still may be a chance to heal and a chance to be open to new partnerships of different types. So it doesn't have to be love. You could focus a little bit more on friendship, a little bit more on mentorship, and some other kind of even educational relationships. So many things that could be happening right now that could expand your horizons, and you could find strength and power and partnership in different ways. Non sort of sexual, sensual relationship energy is more about friendship and things of that nature. So definitely room for that. And there's so many people that are coming through this month that no matter what your relationship status, this is why boss energy keeps coming through. You're going to have to find a way to kind of organize and corral some of that. So I think that that's still at play. We even see this multi-dimensional energy here with all of the different arms and hands. So you're moving at a quick pace this month. Make sure that you're focusing on staying grounded and that you're speaking your mind. Okay, let's focus now on destiny energy. We have the healer of all ages. This is a chance to really focus on healing yourself and healing relationships and even just connections to things like wealth. If you felt in the past like you didn't have what you wanted or needed, now is a chance to make a fresh start. That's actually something that I didn't cover when we were looking at wealth, but we see it here. We have one Pentacles card and that's it. But what we see here is a chance to turn things around. So if you had a bad experience or if you failed at something, this is a chance to turn the coin, flip it around, take another shot, and really start to heal and change the karmic cycle and the relationship with things like success or wealth or healing the heart or speaking your mind. You can really start to make a splash this month. All right, so that we can get some additional details in the areas of sun, rising, and moon, let's shuffle the cards and see what Spirit has to say. Sun, there we go with the lovers, rising, and moon. All right, we've got some beautiful cards coming through. So for sun sign, lovers in reverse. I kind of just touched upon that when we were looking at those that were single and happy, but whether you're looking for love or not, one of the things that's coming through this month is like what we can see here, these outstretched hands. So it could be an opportunity presenting itself to you. And really what Spirit is asking you is, are you ready to receive? It could be at a time that is unexpected or when you shut the door on love, friendship, or opportunity, but the universe sees even more in you than you may see in yourself. Give yourself a chance, explore, see what's out there. This is also saying that you have standards when it comes to what you're looking for. You don't want to settle for less than your heart's desires, and I can get behind that and support that as well. But at its core, this is showing value, worth, and magnetic energy. Don't second guess your likability, your power, or your potential. Moving to rising, we have the star. The star is reversed. Don't mute your light. Lean into being your authentic self. Shine brightly. Explore all opportunities, especially the ones that people don't understand. Do exactly what you need to do. The star card rises, ascends, and it's very much connected to the judgment energy that we see here. So we want you to be able to explore the possibilities, rise to the occasion and to really lean into your light. Don't mute it. The other thing with this card is not to worry so much about what others think or outshining them. It's really just saying like energy attracts like energy. So when you are your brightest, your best, your most authentic, you're going to attract people and opportunities and experiences that are in that same resonance. Moon sign. Well, I talked about the Emperor. Some of you have the best of both worlds. You're pulling in that ability to basically not just lead by innovation, but also just because you're the boss. So you really have the power to make things happen, to do something if you set your mind to it. And this is a chance to reclaim the power. It's kind of interesting that looks like we have a goat on his shirt. Interestingly enough, a lot of times that is connected with the devil energy. So some of you are reclaiming the power as we've been talking about and basically saying, I'm not afraid to do what I want to do. Fear, intimidation, all that jazz, it's not really going to hold you back anymore. So this can also be a more modern interpretation, greatest of all times, the goat, right? And so it's on the Emperor. We would expect that to be the greatest of all time. So just lean into the fact that you are the best. If you're doing the best that you can and you're being the best that you can, then that's all anybody can expect, including yourself. And that actually constitutes success. It's not how many gold stars or how many dollar signs or how much popularity you have. It's how well you're putting yourself out there. If you can do your best, that is your best, okay? So yeah, you're the greatest of all time. That's what this is saying. But lean into speaking up, doing what's right, and making sure that people hear you. I keep putting my hands up because I see this, and it does feel like sometimes you have to raise your hand when you're at the table and say, hold on, I have a question. We do that when we're kids. You have to kind of pick and choose your moment as an adult, but sometimes it helps to say, wait a second, and hold your hand up, okay? Now let's focus on your final question, your final card. This is a chance to ask one more thing that is on your mind or is weighing on your heart. So let's see what Spirit has to say with respect to that. Fantastic. We got the Wheel of Fortune. It's a yes. As you probably know, the Wheel of Fortune represents auspicious or positive changes in your life. And it is that clean slate after whatever came to pass here in the Judgment card. It's rising up. It's making a change. It's change for the better. This is, of course, connected to money and wealth. So for those of you that might have been feeling like nothing's happening or you're not seeing progress, be patient. We see progress starting to take shape and to take form. And remember what I said with this Queen of Wands energy. She can take something and make it from nothing or seemingly nothing. Her ability to be creative and to be inspirational, much like this card, is going to be key. Your passion is contagious in the best possible way. People want to be a part of that. Really throw your heart into it. Look at how her heart chakra is right on that Wheel of Fortune. That will turn things invariably in the right direction. And this is a chance for everything to start to come together. I like this card just as much as the World because it shows movement and it connects us to that Jupiter energy of expansion. So we see your finances and your opportunities starting to expand. And again, as a yes or no, it's a yes, but you have to put your heart in it. And it has to feel like it's a return on your investment energetically. That's where the balance card comes into play, justice, okay? Really good energy, especially as we look at the sun, rising, and moon and that final card. So we have Lovers reverse, so magnetic energy. We have Star reverse, don't dim your light. We have greatest of all time, the Emperor, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune. Things are moving and they're moving in the right direction, folks. Thank you so much for allowing me to read for you today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, do me a favor. It's absolutely free and it helps. Please like and subscribe, okay? In addition to that, I would love for you to follow me across social media. It's always my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, across all major platforms. Remember, I don't offer private readings, so if anybody pretends to be me, block, report them, and let me know in a comment so that I can do what I can do as well. If you'd like to give back, you can do it through Super Stickers, Super Chat, and also by becoming a member. And I just want to say thanks in advance. It really does help the growth of this channel. A little bit goes a long way. If you like the deck, this is brand new. It's listed on my website under decks. I think this is called Souls on Fire. All of the decks are listed on the main navigation under decks that I use. And that is everything, folks. Thank you so much. Wishing you much love and light. Thanking you so much again for being here. I do appreciate it. And you can check out new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Live streams on Sunday at 9:15 a.m. and daily card reads as well. Okay, everyone, take care. Lots of love and light. I'll see you soon.